Lot of people, as I said, you have feeling, but that feeling, is it a meditative feeling? A meditative feeling, your feeling is going to go towards enlightenment. As Lord Krishna elsewhere in the Gita says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yo Bhaktya Prayachati. When he talks of bhakti yoga, elsewhere in the Gita, the Lord says, it is not what you offer is important. You have done this homa, that is not important. Patram, leaf, pushpam, flower, phalam, fruit, toyam, water. But you put all this bhaktya prayatyachi. With bhakti when you offer, he says that's the greatest puja for you. You can do all Chandi Sudarshan Homa, but bring in bhakti. It is not what you offer, it is the feeling in which you are offering. It is not what you gift you give, the feeling in which you give there. And therefore Lord Krishna says, it is not what you offer, listen carefully, because lot of people said, I did this homa, Swamiji, I spent 1 lakh for this homa, I did this one, I like 1 lakh. That is not important. How much of feeling are you putting into it? But what type of feeling? A feeling which is a meditative consciousness, which will unfold later on. But just meditative feeling when you bring this. Because a lot of people say, Swamiji, whenever I listen to music, I cry, I've got a lot of feeling. But that's not helped me. You know, Tolstoy gives a very beautiful example. A beautiful example Tolstoy gives. The great Russian writer, and he gives the example, his mother, he comes from a royal family, and very rich lady, Tolstoy's mother, and when she was, listening to these plays and drama, there used to be a person next to him, it seems. There's a person next to her who used to have tissue papers, some cloth ready, tissue paper equivalent ready. Because when she used to see the play and drama, she used to become so emotional. There was one person next to her, always giving, and she will wipe the tears through. One person was appointed only to wipe the tears. So much of feeling she had. So much of feeling. But Tolstoy says, very interestingly, he says to his mother, but the same lady after the play, when she comes out, in the cold Russian winter nights, Russian winter is very cold. When cold Russian winter night comes out, her rule was, coming from a royal family, her rule was the charioteer which takes her in the chariot to her home, that person should be standing right in the chariot, however cold is. Not even shelter, that is the discipline. Canning. And it seems there are cases where that person who is supposed to read the chariot, take her mother home, he is to die. When he is to die, right, simply without emotion, that person is pushed, another substitute is taken, and she is to go, it seems. Means, in the play, when artificial play, crying, she is to cry. When actual people, her own servant, because the cold died, he observed, she didn't have any feeling. It is his duty, he died. He could not stand the winter. Some others put. He says, in the question we have to ask, Tolstoy says, is this real feeling? Is this feeling? That's why Krishna translates as meditative feeling. This is simply being emotional. It's like like a father, his son was dying. The father's son was dying, young son, and the father was crying, my son is dying. He called the doctor, anything you do to make the son, blah, blah. And he created such a scene in the hospital, so much of crying there, son is not well. Then afterwards, right, he saw there some paper came out of a book. And it came out of the book there, his wife has gone, the boy's mother has gone, the father has seen the paper, and in the paper he read a love letter. And in the love letter, the contents of it is, the son he was crying is not his own son. His wife had some other person, and that son it was. And Tolstoy says this person goes, up to now he was crying, my son is dying. Once he came to know it is not his son. His wife had an affair and somebody's son. He goes to kill her to the throat now. All the feeling, what happened? Some other son, gone. Your son feeling, some other son, but a person is a human being, no? So our feelings should be edited. If our feeling is highly swartha, it is just being emotional. So therefore the Lord says, please look into your feelings, the feelings you have. If your feeling is coming from personality, it is self-love. If your feelings is coming from essence, you have to take it to a height called unconditional love. It may not happen overnight, but that should be your vision. That should be your attempt. That should be your focus.